In this video, we're going to take the update that we only looked at from a distance in the previous video. There are two ways to take it that lead to the same destination through different paths. One is direct, and the other has one extra step, which is the one Qamaq recommends. We're going to walk through both so you can choose with full knowledge. Open the list and go in with Review Update. First, you'll see the available version, along with its release date, and when the version is listed, you'll see its change note. That's where you're told what changed. Read them carefully. It's the only place where you'll know if this version fixes something that's bothering you, or if it changes something that's currently working well. Here, there's only one option. If your organization falls behind, several versions will accumulate. What you'll see is all of them listed, and you can choose which one to jump to. Below is the real question. How do you want to install it? Pay close attention to that word, install, because there are two things here that are not the same, and confusing them is the most common mistake: installing and mapping. Installing means bringing the new version into your account. Mapping means telling your organization that from now on, this is the version to use. These are two distinct steps, and you can have a version perfectly installed that nobody is actually using, simply because the organization is still pointing to the previous one. The two options you see here differ in one key aspect. The first one, download as release candidate, is marked as recommended. It only installs. It brings the version in. You choose who can test it, and the mapping stays pending. For everyone else, the organization continues working with the usual version. The process they run is not affected. The second one is download as published. This performs both actions at once. It installs and maps, so the new version is applied in a single step. As a result, the new version is immediately in use across the entire organization. The difference is not the level of difficulty, it's when the mapping occurs, and therefore, who receives the new process first. Let's start with the direct method, which is the shorter one. Select Download as Published and confirm. That's it, installed and mapped in a single step. And look, in the list, this process no longer appears. It wasn't deleted. It stops showing because only those with a newer version waiting are displayed. And this one already has the new version. The list itself confirms that the update is complete. To be clear, what you've just seen is the path that Qamaq does not recommend. There's a reason the other option is the one labeled Recommended. The reason is written in the modal itself. A new version can change the behavior you expect. It may not suit your needs, or it may disrupt something that is already working well in your organization. And if you mapped it right away, that change reached everyone at the same time, without anyone having tested it first. The recommended approach is the opposite. Test first, then map. And that is exactly the other path. Let's look at it with a different process. We select Download as Release Candidate. And down here, something opens up that the other option doesn't have. Testers. Read what it says. Only these people will be able to run the release candidate until you publish it. It is used only by whoever you specify, and no one else. Add the people who are going to test it, and then confirm. Notice the difference compared to the previous method. This process is still on the list. It did not disappear. That's because the new version is installed and marked as a release candidate, but the update is still pending. And your organization, which version is it working with? I'm not going to tell you myself. Let's look at the screen that actually knows. This is the process mapping screen, and it's worth knowing that it exists, even though you won't come here often. Here, your organization declares which services are used, and for each service, which process resolves it, with which version, and with which instance. It's the list of what Qamaq is running internally for this organization. We look for the service that contains the process we just downloaded as a release candidate. Which one is this? Assistant Requests. Look at the version it has. It's the old one, the same version you had before downloading anything. There it is, plain to see, without me having to tell you. But your organization is still working with the previous one. That's what it means to have something installed but not mapped, and that's why no one is aware of the update we announced. For them, nothing changes. They continue running the same process as yesterday. Before we continue, a question that will come to mind is, if the new version isn't mapped, how do testers access it? The answer is written at the top of that same screen. It says this page sets the organization defaults, and that if you were invited as a tester for an RC process, you can pick a test instance for your own account from My Settings, Process Mappings. In other words, each tester assigns themselves to the test version without affecting what's running in production. That's why testing doesn't disrupt anyone else. Let's return to the list, because this is where the important part of this path begins. The button for that process has changed. It now says Publish and Map. There you have the exact wording you needed, telling you precisely what needs to be done. Your testers then try it out and confirm whether it works. Only then do you click it. With that single button, 4 things happened at once. The version was published, it was set as the active process, the test restrictions were removed, and the organization was pointed to it. That process is no longer in the list, just like the first one. And to wrap things up properly, let's head back to process mapping. That same service, which a minute ago showed the old version, now displays the new one. That's the step people don't see, and it's the one that matters. The organization leaves the new version published, while everyone continues running the old one. With that button, however, you do both actions together, so you're never left halfway through the process. Let's verify something that in the previous video I only mentioned in words. This is another person from the same organization. Look at their dashboard. The notification is still there, but that process no longer appears in the list. This person didn't do anything, and if they open process mapping, they're already running the new version. This is what it means for the decision to belong to the organization. One person takes it, and it applies to everyone. No one else has to repeat the process. One scenario you may encounter when there are multiple administrators is this. You click the button, and instead of updating, a message appears saying that the update is no longer pending. Nothing has failed. Someone else took it before you, from another workstation. They took it between the moment this list was drawn and the moment you clicked. The list refreshes on its own, and you carry on with whatever is left. It's worth knowing this, so you don't go looking for problems that don't exist. To summarize, when taking an update, first review what changed, and then decide who receives it. Download as published, delivers it to everyone immediately. Download as release candidate, delivers it only to the people you choose, and leaves you a second step, publish and map, for when you've tested it. And that second step remains entirely in your hands. If your testers try it and aren't convinced, you simply don't press it, and your organization stays on the version that was already working. That's what you tested. But if you decide to move forward, the button is what activates it. It's not just a formality, it's what makes the entire organization transition to the new version. And doing it just once is enough to cover everyone.